Hi everyone, my name is Prukalpa. I'm the co-founder of Atlan. And my big prediction for the modern data stack in 2023 is that traditional data catalogs are going to be fully replaced by active metadata platforms. So there have been some very interesting paradigm shifts that have happened in metadata management just in the last 12 months. Firstly, Gartner actually scrapped the magic quadrant for metadata management and replaced it with a market guide for active metadata. The report says the standalone metadata management platform will be refocused from augmented data catalogs to a metadata anywhere orchestration platform. Just on the heels of that, Forrester actually scrapped their traditional Forrester Wave for machine learning data catalogs and replaced it with a Wave for enterprise data catalogs for data ops. They talked about how in today's world, data engineers need enterprise data catalogs to truly understand and activate data. It talks about how use cases like impact analysis, root cause analysis, data policy compliance should actually be driven in a programmatic way rather than a manual way. So what is active metadata? Before I go into what active metadata is, I want to share a little bit of backstory on how we stumbled upon this realization that data catalogs need to be reinvented into this new paradigm that we live in today's world. So a few years ago, I, like many of you, was a data practitioner myself. We were a data team ourselves at Atlan, and we were trying to use data science for social good. So we were doing a lot of work with folks like the United Nations, the World Bank, the Gates Foundation, dealing with a wide variety and scale of data. So as you can see on the screen, processing data for 500 million Indian citizens, billions of pixels of satellite imagery, which all on the outside seem like really cool projects, but on the inside, it was not cool or fun at all. We went through every fire drill that a data team has ever gone through, right? So what does this column name mean? We would onboard new analysts and they wouldn't be productive. Data engineers would spend all their time troubleshooting issues, right? Like I've had cabinet ministers call me at 8 in the morning and say, Prukalpa, the number on this dashboard doesn't look right. And the worst call ever in the morning, right? And then I call my project manager and my analyst and my data engineer, and we're all trying to figure out what went wrong. And this wasn't a one-off incident. This was a story of our life. Like we were spending 50-60% of our time dealing with these kinds of issues. And so we hit this breaking point. We were like, we cannot continue to do this anymore. And we essentially went out into the world and tried to solve this problem by buying a traditional data catalog. We ended up failing 3 times in setting up a data catalog. And the 4th time, we actually were forced to build. So we built tooling for our own team, which made our team 6 times more agile in that time. And in that iteration, we realized what today's modern data teams actually need to succeed with metadata to sort of solve all of these chaos problems. The reason behind our success the 4th time was this one core insight. We realized that in data teams, diversity is not a bug, it's a feature. Data teams are one of the most diverse teams that have ever been created. Analysts, engineers, scientists, business, they all have their own tooling preferences, they have their own skill sets, their own DNA, the way that they work. This diversity is our biggest strength, but it's also our biggest weakness because none of these personas actually know how to work effectively with each other. But traditional data catalogs are just not built for this diversity. When we realized this, and we built diversity as the core thesis in the way that we thought about metadata to solve our problems, we were able to sort of reinvent the way that our team worked. What do I mean by diversity? Diversity in humans of data, right? Analysts, engineers, analytics engineers, data governance managers, chief data officers, data platform teams. There is an increasing diversity in data roles inside an organization. Each of these different users, for them, context means very different things. Their jobs to be done are extremely different, right? Like, let me pick a table. If a data engineer is looking at that same table, they will care about things like, did the pipeline fail or not? Did the data quality test pass or not? Same table, if an analyst looks at it, they'll care about column descriptions and frequency distribution so that they can use it for their analysis. Business user cares about neither of these things. They just care about, like, can I trust this data and use it for decision-making purposes in my business? But traditional data catalogs sort of treat every one of these users in a generic way. And so the question we asked ourselves is, why can we not create sort of like personalized experiences? Netflix creates personalized experiences for you and me, right? Where we get completely personalized experiences based on what we're looking to do. So active metadata platforms go from generic ecosystems to truly activating personalized experiences for diverse users inside organizations. Now, the diversity of humans of data also leads to a diversity in data tools, right? Each of these people have their own favorite tool, BI tools, warehouses, IDE, Slack, Jira. And, traditionally, the challenge is that data catalogs are not built to actually work in the workflows of these data tools. They expect you to actually change your workflow and go into this one other siloed tool to solve your problem. But think about this from an end user perspective. If I am in a dashboard and I say, can I trust this data today? The last thing I want to do at that time is jump from the dashboard and go to my data catalog tool and look for my single sign-on or my login, search for the dashboard, look at the lineage, figure out if I trust it or not, right? As an end user, I want context where I am when I need it. And so active metadata platforms change this paradigm of this new different siloed tool that needs, change management in the workflow of end users. And it actually takes context back into the collaboration workflows that end users use on a daily basis. So be it a BI tool, how do I get the context I need? Did the pipeline that's related to it run today or not? What does the lineage look like? Is this verified? Who's the owner? It integrates deeply into communication workflows. So, everyone has that one Slack channel where, the data team asks questions to each other, right? So what does this mean? Can I trust this? Bots that integrate into those Slack workflows, right? So super integrated into Slack, Jira, just tools that end users use on a daily basis. Now, these diverse data tools create a different kind of diversity. They create a diversity in data assets, right? In today's world, data assets are far more than just tables. They're also models and pipelines and data quality tests and notebooks and code snippets and queries. And each of these should be sort of treated and maintained like an asset. What does that mean? They should be reusable and they should be reproducible. So a question we ask ourselves is just like, your GitHub code is reusable, where when you onboard an engineer, you just share a link to a GitHub repo and it has code, documentation, revision, everything in that same single source of truth repository. How do you create a similar 360 view for your data assets? Now, the thing is that truth means, for data assets means you have to stitch together truths from a variety of sources. So like just for a single table, you need to bring in context about who's using it from the BI tools and the notebooks and the downstream tools. The truth about, where it's coming from is in the pipeline tool. The truth about whether it's updated is in the operational pipelines and ingestion tools. And stitching together this needs massive automation because the traditional manual approaches just don't work anymore. And so, going from this passive, manual, human-led, keyword-based approach to data catalogs to automation-first approaches, right? So today, you can look at SQL query logs across your warehouse environments to deduce who your top users are and who potentially the owners of those data assets could be. You can automatically create column-level lineage all the way from your, source system all the way down to your BI system. Extensibility, rule-based automations. There's a lot that can actually, be done to stitch together this automated 360 profile. And that's really what activated metadata platforms are, which take an automation-first approach as the next generation of tooling in the stack. And finally, my favorite one, diversity in use cases. Data teams are one of the most diverse teams that exist. One size just doesn't fit all. Solving problems for data teams means building open and extensible platforms, right? Traditional data catalogs were really closed systems. They only looked at the single use case of the data catalog. But when you have stitched together metadata across your ecosystem, you can use it for so many use cases. Cost optimization, knowing which of your tables and pipelines are used the most in downstream systems means you can optimize costs across your entire stack. We have a Fortune 100 that's doing completely automated programmatic security alerts and governance alerts, automated data deletion based on, usage and metadata about a variety of use cases, right? There's so many use cases that metadata can power. And so the, final layer of what an active metadata platform is really being open by default. So metadata can be used not just for a single use case of data catalogs, but really to power countless use cases across the ecosystem, right? So right from things like active change alerting when a data ingestion pipeline breaks and taking it downstream to things like preventing breaking changes by integrating metadata about impact directly into CI/CD processes, or optimizing data stack spending, knowing which queries are taking too long to run or which tables are being used by BI tools. We had a life insurance startup that actually, ended up saving $200,000 annually on their warehouse spend by just using metadata effectively. And so with that, my final prediction for today is, in summary, this is what traditional metadata management looked like. We took metadata from a bunch of different tools and we brought it into this tool, which we use for data discovery and cataloging. But the future really is about activating this metadata and taking it back into human workflows, human tools, Slack, Jira, BI tools, and so on, and taking it back to drive automation workflows to help our data tools work better together. So use cases across data quality, trust, cost optimization, CI/CD, and so on. So with that, would love to continue the conversation. I write a regular Substack, metadataweekly.substack.com, and reach out to me on Prukalpa on Twitter, LinkedIn, or reach out to our team on Atlan.com for talking more about just what active metadata can do in your daily workflows. Awesome. Thank you.